Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. Today I've got another Fountain Pen Showdown for you. The two pens we're going to be taking a look at is this is the Majohn or the Moonman T5, and that's going to be going up against the Wingsun 698. Now there is a slight difference between these two pens. The Majohn, steel nib, the Wingsun, gold nib. So it'll be interesting also to see how I feel about these two different nibs as well. So join me now down on the mat. We'll take a closer look at the pens. We'll do a writing sample. Then I'll give you my thoughts and we'll score both of these pens. So here we are down on the mat. So the two pens we're looking at, we've got the Moonman or the Majohn T5. And we've got the Wingsun 698. Let's take a quick tour around the bodies. So we'll start with the T5. I love the colour of this. This is a gorgeous purple colour. Now on the camera this comes over as a lot more purple than what I'm seeing in real life. So here I've got purple, but when I look here at the ends, to my eye looking at it, it looks more black. But there's definitely purple in there, and as I say, on the camera it comes over really nicely, this purple colour. It's a piston filler. Both of these pens, they're both piston fillers. If we start at the top, we've got a plastic finial here with a nice little point. That comes down, then we've got this silver coloured plastic clip. That's nice and springy. The cap, it tapers out. I want to say until it gets to the bottom of the clip. Then go straight, and here we've got Majohn. Keep going round. Then we're back to that Majohn at the front. So very simple, isn't it? We've got what feels like a tapered drop down to the body. Then the body seems to be about the same width until nearly 3/4 of the way down. Then it tapers in. Again, we've got this silver ring. And then we've got the end cap. I'm not going to twist that because I don't want to trigger the mechanism and throw ink all over the place. Take a look here with the Wingsun. So the Wingsun, slightly longer. We'll look at the measurements in a second. We start with this silver coloured finial. This is flat at the top, whereas as we see with the Majohn, hopefully I can get that right. Majohn's got this little point. This is flat. The cap, again, got this plastic clip. The clip, I like the look of the one on the T5 better, but at the end of the day, as long as they're functional, I personally don't use them, so it makes no difference to me. The only thing they're there for me is a roll stop. So the cap, on here, it seems to be the same width all the way down. Whereas, as we saw with that T5, we had some tapering. We've got the ring at the bottom, so there we've got wings. Then we've got some Chinese characters. Then the number 698, and we're back to wings. From the bottom of the cap, we've got a definite drop off. It doesn't even attempt to taper. So that drops down, you can feel that, into the body. The body, again, to me, is the same width all the way down. We've got a wider silver coloured ring. Then we've got this end cap. Now, one of the things I like with the Wingsun, again, I'm not going to twist this too much, but this end cap, it feels loose to me because I haven't pushed it back down. But this locks down into position. There, you can hear that click. So there's it off, and you can see I can twist the knob slightly. Pop it down. That's now locked in place, so it's going to be a lot harder to accidentally trigger the mechanism than what it will be with the T5. Now take the caps off both, so there's one turn, there's two turns, 2.5 turns for the Majohn T5, and we've got one, just over one for that Wingsun. Now this is where we're going to start to see a difference. Let's pop them both together. On the Majohn, this looks like it's a number 6 size nib, whereas with the T5, it looks slightly shorter, but not as small as I would expect a number 6 nib to look. The other difference on these two models, the T5 steel nib, the Wingsung gold nib, 14 karat gold nib. You can tell the difference when we're writing. We'll look at that when we come to the writing sample. As said, they're both piston fillers. With the Wingsung, it's got a transparent body. It's nice dark black colour. I like the colour. But you can see your ink level. With the T5, it's a solid colour body, but we do have this nice ink window down here, which the pen's quite full, so you can't really see much in there. But that's quite handy to know when the pen's running low. Just pop the caps back on. I like both these pens. I think in terms of looks though, I do prefer the looks here of the T5. With the T5, there's 4 colours available. I've only got the purple at the moment. I want the other 3 though. I just need to get the purchase past the wife. But with the Wingsung 698, there are a lot more choices. What I'm going to do is do some measurements. So let's take these out of the way and fetch in the rule of measuring. So here we have the rule of measuring. The first one, we're going to look at the T5. So I'll fetch that in. So with the cap on, this comes in at 13.9 centimetres. If I take the cap off, that comes in at 13 centimetres. If I post it, it does post nicely. It's nice and secure. Posts onto the body, not onto the cap. That comes in at 17 centimetres. If we look at our widths, the body is 1.4 centimetres. The section, that goes from 1 centimetre to 1.1 centimetres. And the cap, that's 1.49 centimetres. Let's pop this to one side. So with the Wingsung, let's fetch this in. So with the cap on, comes in at 14.2 centimetres. As I said, ever so slightly longer than the T5. Unposted, that's about 13 centimetres. Posted, again, it will go on, but it won't stay on. So this isn't a pen you can use posted. In terms of the widths, the body is 1.28 centimetres. The section goes from 0.93 to 1.07 centimetres. And the cap, that comes in at 1.38 centimetres. Let's get rid of the rule and we'll fetch in the scales of weighing. So here we go with the scales. Again, starting with the T5. 34 grams. And just the cap, 13 grams. With the Wingsung, the whole pen, 25 grams. And the cap, 12 grams. So all in all, the Wingsung substantially less weight in it. And you can tell that when you're writing. I'm jumping ahead slightly, but I enjoy the feel of writing with that T5. Let's get these out of the way and we'll fetch in the notepad of testing. So here we have the notepad of testing. This is a black and red notepad. It's A5 in size, but it's got that gorgeous Oxford optic paper, which I always find is nice and fountain pen friendly. So the first one we're going to test is we're going to go and have a look at the T5. So let's fetch this in. So here we go. This is, I'm going to call it Majohn. T5. In here we've got a medium nib. The ink by Colt Pens. And it's Little Pip. This, it's a nice purple ink, but as it dries, you'll hopefully be able to see already, it's got a nice gold sheen to it. We'll have a quick look at that now, can we? Can we see that any better? Yeah, you can see it drying to that gold already. Drying times, immediate. 10 seconds. 30 seconds. Finally, 1 minute. After a minute, Still slightly wet, so it's still smudging there. I'm going to move the mic so you can hear the pen write. That's nice. It feels stiff. As you may have noticed here, we had a hard start on the G. Now, I'm going to be generous and say that's down to me, because when I'm recording, I'm not writing at the same angle that I normally do. It's quite awkward sometimes to actually get a good way of writing. I normally would have the paper that way onto my body, whereas it's this way, so that may be what's caused the difference. Line variation. So this is with no pressure. This is adding a bit of pressure. Very stiff. Seeing a little bit more width, but not that much really. Let's do some S's. Yeah, it's not too bad. This scribble test just to see how well the flow keeps up. So we've got good ink flow there. Now, before we move on, I'm just going to show you that sheen again. There, you can really see it now. Certainly on that grumpy whizzed sentence, now it's dried off. And at the top, with the light in the right direction, it looks virtually all gold, doesn't it? You can hardly see the purple. But when it's laid flat, I see some of the purple and that gold mixing. So it looks quite nice. So pen number 2. Let me just move the page up a bit. There we go. So we've got the bottom half of the page now. What I'm doing is I'm actually agitating the pen at the moment. It's got a sheen and a shimmer ink in here. So that's why I'm agitating it. I just want to make sure I'm giving that sheen, that shimmer, should I say, the best chance of coming out when I'm writing. I'm not expecting much the first few words, but hopefully when we get to the sentence, we should be able to see some shimmer. Okay, so the second pen. It's by Wingsun. And it's the model 698. In here, again, it's a medium nib, but it's a 14 carat gold nib. The ink is by Diamine, and it's all the best. So this ink was part of the 2021 ink event calendar. It was on day 25, so it's my Christmas ink. As I say, it's meant to be a sheen and a shimmer. Let's see, do we see any of that coming off at the moment? Not really, not even really on that camera. We'll see how it does as we do the rest of the writing. Drying times, immediate, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, finally 1 minute. After a minute, again it's still smudging, but to me it seems to be slightly drier than what I was seeing with the Cult Pen's little pip. Now what I'm going to do, we'll come back to this in a second, I'm just going to scribble this here and I'm going to go over it a couple of times. Why I'm doing this is I want to see if I can get any of that sheen and shimmer showing up. And I'm hoping that by doing a scribble might help with that. Let's move down the mic so you can hear the pen write. It feels softer. It's definitely not as stiff as I was seeing with the T5. But I'm more disappointed with this writing. You know, look there on that T, we've got a little bit of railroading. We've got a lot of skipping happening. Again, I've got to be generous. It could be down to the angle I'm having to write at. But I see similar behaviour when I'm doing my normal writing. You may see, look here on the gold, we've got some little lines coming through, and we've had that here a few times. I think when I positioned the nib and feed, I think the feed's too close to the tip of the nib, so that's something I will try and fix. What I'll do is I'll try and reposition that nib on the feed when this pen's next empty. Line variation. No pressure. With pressure. Let me see if I can reposition my hand. Let's try that with pressure again. So, slightest bit of pressure, I'm seeing railroading. So it could be down to how I've got that feed position. That's something I will look at. Flow. Yeah, again, it keeps up quite nicely. The line though, it's a lot thinner than what I'm seeing with the T5. Just going to reposition the paper. Here we go, we can see both of them on screen now. So what are my thoughts on these pens? Well, with the T5, I love the shape, I love the colour, I love the feel in my hand. It's got a nice amount of weight, it feels like it's there. I don't need to use it posted, but I can post it if I wanted to. It certainly seems a more substantial pen. This pen costs 27 Australian dollars. I think it's worth that as well. I think it's really nice. As I say, I want to get the others, so I've got the full colour family. With the 698, there we go. In terms of the looks of the pen, I don't want to say boring, it's not. It's quite nice. I like the black transparent colour. It looks interesting. You know, it's got this gorgeous translucency to it. But the pen, I've got to be honest, when I first saw it, I thought, oh, it's a tube. Not very exciting. So in terms of looks, nowhere near what I'm seeing with the T5. And with the 698, that cost me 74 Australian dollars. See, more problems there with writing. But to give these some scores for their pen looks, 8 out of 10. And 7 out of 10. Let me just straighten that up. The writing experience, I think here with the T5, nice. It's a bit stiff. As we can see here, we had that one hard start. Don't usually see that in my normal writing, so I think that could be related, as I said, to the way I'm holding the pen. Not much in the way of line variation. Didn't expect that, because at the end of the day, it's a steel nib, it's a stiff nib. But it's still quite enjoyable to write with. With the 698, in today's test, this is quite disappointing because we're not really seeing much here coming out. In my normal writing, I've not had as many issues. Now, I think that could be related, as I've already said here, to the way that I've got the feed and the nib. This nib didn't actually come in this pen. I do have another 698, but it's just, well, the best way I can describe it, it's a boring grey colour. And that's the one that had the gold nib in. This originally had a steel nib. So I swapped the nibs, and that's why I'm thinking maybe that nib swap, I need to do a little bit more with it. Let's look at this little swatch I did. Not really seeing much in the way of, well, maybe there's a little bit of shimmer coming through. You know, even where it's on thick, not seeing that much. There we are, we've got some blue by the look of it, a blue shimmer. Could be the nib's just too fine really to show off that. But it's still nice. In terms of the writing experience then, I'm actually going to give them both 8 out of 10. I'm basing this score off my normal writing though, not off this test. If I was going to base it off this test, I've got to be honest, it would be lucky to get a 6. Ink flow. You know, both flow really well. Let me just move that up so we can see both the scribbles. The line here on the 698, a lot narrower. I do like the nice generous line here of the T5. So ink flow, I'm going to give them both an 8 out of 10. The interesting question now, value for money. 27 Australian dollars. Steel nib. Looks nice. I'm going to give this, in terms of value for money, it's a nice, good, solid 9 out of 10. With the 698, this is where it gets a little bit interesting. It's 74 Australian dollars. It's a 14 karat gold nib. The cheapest gold nibbed pen that I can buy, 200 Australian dollars, and that's for a Platinum 3776. So this is less than half the price of another gold pen. I need to bear that in mind when I'm talking value for money. I enjoy the way it feels. It's not as nice as the T5. I enjoy the way it writes. In today's test, it's not as nice as that T5, but it's a nice, soft nib. I'm not going to say it's a bouncy nib, but there's definite softness to it. And in my normal writing, it's nice. So for value for money, again, I'm going to give this one a 9 out of 10. So that gives me a total score for the Moonman Majohn T5 in this glorious purple colour, 8.25 out of 10. And for the Wingsung 698 with the 14 karat gold nib, that's going to get 8 out of 10. What are your thoughts on these pens? Do you agree with the scores that I've given them? I'd be really interested, because to me, one of the things I want from this channel is to start a conversation around pens, get other people's inputs, because that helps to shape my thoughts going forward. Please drop a comment down below. Let's kickstart the conversation. Please hit the thumbs up button every time you like, every time you comment. Just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.